So here I'll be considering to give 5 minutes on fire development stages. This is very interesting. So, and in this condition, with this elements, I'll also explain you under each stages what actions we have to take and what elements are going to support to control the fire at different stages. Coming to the fire development stages. So basically, assume, touch wood, none of us should face this fire ravages. Assume just virtually one of this compartment, we are inside to it. Okay, come back to this. Virtually consider there is a small spark that is going to create on a couch. Okay, and that spark has, it could be due to a faulty electrical system, or it could be a chemical reaction, maybe a cigarette butt, or maybe a factory storage area, wherever it is, unnoticed elements are going to be there in rich, and that has the potential to catch fire. Okay, so let us imagine we are inside a room where this spark has created on a combustible material, and that combustible material is such that is going to catch fire very fast, like a cotton, like a cloth. Okay, and that fire which has just started is just going to cover slowly, engulf that entire area of that combustible material. This stage we call it as incipient stage. The first stage is incipient stage. The small spark, there is a small slight smoke that is around that couch area, which is going to accumulate at the roof level, and slowly that fire is going to spread physically around that, the building combustible material. And as soon as that fire is going to be visible, something say of the size of a small indoor plant, then that has the potential, that small fire has the potential to cover entire room. That is, if it has to be controlled, there has to be less number of combustible material. Otherwise, the combustible material surrounding to that couch easily catches fire. That you can see any of that accidents which I've shown you previously, Kumbakonam fire or Hong Kong fire. So these are all some of the cases. The immense amount of combustible materials that are present inside is the reason the fire which was of the small plant size has created a greater growth, covering the entire volume of that room. And later, when there is the large area is in contact of fire, the fire is greatly visible, and that fire has the potential to cover entire burning material inside the room, and that reaches the burning stage. And every burning material or maybe combustible material is in contact of fire. We call this as flashover. This is flashover. Okay, and in this flashover, whatever the scenarios that I told you here, fire has the chance of, or the ability to come outside the building. Basically, under this scenario, there will be less amount of oxygen, more amount of combustible material. So the fire, that fellow will not be having space to burn inside. So he will come out. He will come out and burn something like this, which you can see here. And because of the reason, the rich oxygen. And here, if there is any combustible material hanging outside, which is going to catch the fire easily, then there is a vertical fire spread. Then there is a vertical fire spread. Along with this, there is a secondary, effect of this fire that will be growing inside. That is the smoke. There is an immense smoke that is accumulated. Suppose if we do a small havan inside the room in our building, in our house warming ceremony, we cannot able to lift our head up. So in an accidental fire scenario, we'll be having less amount of chances to breathe and less amount of area to be visible to escape. So it will be densely accumulated with the smoke, the secondary effect of this fire in growth and burning stage. Growth and burning stage. And very important thing in the burning stage, what we have to sustain or maintain for a longer time is the integrity of our structure. The columns, beams, or integrity of these two along with slab has to be maintained. Why it has to be maintained? Suppose if there are greater combustible material, okay, inside a building, like it could be an industrial fire or it could be a large area, maybe a mercantile building. Okay, in this scenario, there will be prolonged burning, which we can call it as extended burning inside, and this can take up several hours. Just we saw there about the 6 to 10 hours of fire which was ravaging inside a building in some of the fire accidents that we saw. This is the phase. This is the burning phase that will be there. The where every building material compartment it is under the fire, and a greater temperature buildup is going to happen. Okay, so under these circumstances, very important element that we have to safeguard is our building. If our building or any one element compromises, we are going to see a catastrophic failure. Okay, and in all these scenarios, what is very important, let us really look into it. We just saw what is going to happen inside a fire compartment. Let us see what is important in each stages. I'll go back to each stages which we saw just a minute back. So here in the incipient stage, we don't want this fire to grow big. Here I need to identify any small fire spark that is going to create a smoke. Here I need to have a detection system. Here I need to restrict the fire within the compartment. I need to control my building materials which can catch fire easily, right? This is the importance in the stage 1. And in stage 2, here where the fire has already grown, you cannot able to stop the fire manually. Under that circumstances, you need to have external elements which can able to reduce this fire. Could be sprinklers, extinguishing media that should be available before it takes up the burning stage. Now coming to the third stage. Here we have to restrict the fire from taking to the next compartment or maybe the next building. You might be seeing most of the fire extinguishing personnel will be putting a lot of fire in the accidental scenarios where will be the fire will be accumulated in the entire compartment. What they will be doing, they will not be trying to extinguish the fire. They will be controlling that fire not to come outside the building. That is the primary goal. The secondary is to extinguish within the compartment. Okay, so with this understanding, now what are the means of restricting this fire? We need to tie this fellow. We need to find out a method where this fire is not going to create a greater damage. Let us see how we can able to control this fire.